He had never encountered anything like this before. While he had witnessed many peculiar objects floating in these waters, a strange figure emerged from the mist, prompting him to rush over and investigate before anyone could be put at risk. As he suspected, it was indeed heading straight for the coast. Action needed to be taken, and fast. The Irish coast is a tourist's dream, renowned for its breathtaking cliffs, rolling green hills, and stunning views of the Atlantic Ocean. However, on a chilly morning, both locals and visitors were astonished to spot what seemed to be an entirely extraterrestrial vessel gliding near the Mayo County shoreline. Unbeknownst to them, it harbored a sinister message. Onlookers gathered along the shore, quickly realizing the strange object's trajectory as it bobbed in the water. It soon became clear that the peculiar craft was being carried aimlessly by the waves. Witnesses decided it was time to alert the authorities. At that point, the Coast Guard received the unusual call. Greg Watt, who was on duty, hurried to the location as soon as he noticed the enigmatic object cutting through the fog in the distance. Whatever it was enormous. However, upon closer inspection, he was astounded by what he saw. It was undoubtedly some sort of watercraft. All he could hope was that no one was on board. The Coast Guard suspected something was off as they got closer. The odd item appeared to have no business being in the water, much less in the middle of the ocean, and had no form like any boat they had ever seen. However, why was it there? Was there anyone on board? Greg floated next to the object and called into the megaphone, but when he got no response, he couldn't shake the gloom that came over him. Greg and his colleagues were met with silence. They boarded and prepared themselves for whatever was within. After a few unsure minutes, however, they were left with more questions than answers about what they discovered. There was no time to delay. A wind began to blow, bringing waves that could have destroyed the entire ship. After tying their boat to their unusual maritime discovery, the Irish Coast Guard cautiously dragged it to land. They could now look into the mystery more thoroughly because they were instantly safe. The yacht had a lived-in appearance. A shiver ran down Greg's spine as he thought about what may have happened to the boat's oddly missing crew. Where were the people aboard the odd boat, and why had they been traveling across the ocean on a ship of such an unusual shape? Everyone who saw the vessel was shocked that it had managed to stay afloat at all, as it appeared more like a caravan than a boat. In retrospect, Greg acknowledged that it was the most peculiar item he had ever encountered, until he discovered the hurriedly written message inside. Because of its magnitude, the form itself was quite distinctive. At first, I thought it might be a caravan, a Coast Guard official explained. The yacht was nevertheless livable. He continued. A fresh piece of information led the investigators directly to him. A name written in black permanent marker on the interior wall, Rick Small, a citizen of Thunder Bay, Ontario. He was well known in his hometown, and although he was on the opposite side of the globe, his escapades were set to shock the people of Mayo County, a tranquil beach hamlet. You see, Rick was considered to be pretty odd and had a rather unconventional perspective on the world. Greg wanted to solve the riddle, so he did some research on Rick Small. He looked everywhere for any reference to the man, and when his quest took him all the way to Canada, he was more than fascinated. As it happened, Rick had been a strong supporter of alternative energy sources and was quite vocal about environmental issues. When Rick Small built a bike that ran entirely on solar power and rode it from British Columbia to Newfoundland, he even made headlines back home in Canada. He was building a fully self-sufficient boat that he intended to live on in the waters of Foxtrot Marina, which was his next major undertaking. However, his goals for his houseboat were more ambitious. Rick wanted to sail his houseboat in addition to living on it. He intended to leave Newfoundland and make his way across the Atlantic to Ireland. He started by constructing the odd 20-foot craft out of plywood and other materials. But could his one-of-a-kind ship withstand the Atlantic Ocean's roaring waves? Naturally, the Canadian Coast Guard was alarmed when he phoned them and explained his intentions. They cautioned Rick against making the trip because they were concerned that his houseboat wouldn't be able to make it. The houseboat was halfway around the world when it should have remained in Rick's home base in Canada. Where was Rick, though? The first thing the authorities feared was that Rick had died at sea, or worse, that something must have happened to him because of a significant change, said Rodney Mercer, a member of Foxtrot Marina. He knew exactly what Rick intended to achieve and what he was constructing. It set adrift with that note, which shocked me. The message said, "I, Rick Small, gift this structure to a young person experiencing homelessness so they can have a better life. No rent, no mortgage, no hydro." Before long, people were flocking to the coast to witness Rick's incredible craft for themselves. The authorities were eventually forced to remove it from the coast because of the large number of people who gathered. It was put in storage by Irish officials in the expectation that Rick would come to get it. Rick Small's whereabouts are still a mystery, though, after his solar-powered houseboat was dragged ashore off the Irish coast of Mayo County. No one has seen Rick Small since the yacht vanished from the Canadian harbor. According to locals, many people question if he was aboard the yacht as it sailed across the Atlantic. Despite the fact that he occasionally goes missing to live off the grid in Ireland, Rick Small's houseboat attracted so much attention that several businesses sought to designate it as a local landmark. Additionally, the tale of the houseboat's arrival in Ireland and the guy who built it has become legendary due to the fact that it was a selfless gift to the town's poor residents. Rick's message was straightforward. The vessel had inexplicably floated almost 20,000 kilometers from the Canadian island of Newfoundland to the Irish shore close to County Mayo. The dual objective of Rick Small's inventive vessel was to encourage others to consider solar energy as a feasible substitute for carbon-based fuel. Strange objects sometimes wash up on Ireland's beaches, but Rick Small's solar-powered houseboat was unlike anything the Coast Guards on patrol and the locals had ever seen. We are confident that Rick's incredible perseverance and the spirit of this gift will endure for many years to come, no matter where he is. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comment section. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.